What's up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and I am coming to you with a long overdue review on the 2011 6-inch Thundercats figures by Bandai. I've had these guys for a grip. You saw the Mumra videos and the two Lion-O videos, and I've had these guys, and I just somehow never did it. So I'm finishing them all up together. These were really cool figures to find because I didn't think they would actually make everybody. And then, I started seeing them pop up all over the place. And then the fact that I found them at a discount retailer and I didn't pay, I think I paid $5 for, let me see, Lion-O, Cheetara, and Tygra. So, that's a good price. Oh, and one of the Mumras I paid $5 for. So, I kind of got lucky in that case, when it comes to these figures. And that's not something that you get all the time. And I mean, when you look at how well sculpted and well articulated these characters are and how on model they are, it's nice to have a find like that and, be able to have these displayed because I am a Thundercats fan. I grew up on that shit. Thundercats was right there with He-Man. I was more of a He-Man fan than I was more on the Thundercats camp than the He-Man camp. I'm kind of mad that they didn't make the rest of the characters. I wanted Groon and I wanted Hachiman in this size, but whatever. So anyway, you guys saw my review that I did years ago. This is the complete opposite. I think that was for the 3 3/4 inch figures. So prepare to sit down and hear me gush about how good these figures actually are. So here we have the whole crew. This was something I was wanting to see for a long time. They're really well-made figures. They help me further illustrate my points that I said years ago in that one update video where I said Bandai makes the best stuff. It doesn't matter kind of what the size is. Sometimes it's, hit or miss, but overall, they make the best stuff. Those 3 3/4 inch figures, they were bad in comparison to G.I. Joe's articulation wise, but they were good 3 3/4 inch figures, or they at least weren't the worst. Anyway, these are the 6-inch ones. I did not know that some of these guys existed. My first one was Panthro, and then I just went and found them as I found them. I think I'm going to start with Tygra as far as the review goes. These are going to be quick reviews where I just go through and I give you kind of a brief overview on what makes these characters, these figures good. I'm going to move these guys out the way, and we're going to focus on the older brother of the House of O. This is Tygra, and he's got this cool armor. The design is already cool. There's so much that they already did right, and then they gave him the right kind of articulation.
Okay, so this Tygra figure is really cool because he is very, number one, he was a surprise. I didn't even know that they made this figure. And then when I found out that they made this figure, I was like doubly and triple surprised because, I was actually able to get a hold of him. His articulation is kind of different because it's modified for the design, which I expected because you can see he's got this huge, armor on his arm, which is pretty old school. I like that, I also like the fact that he uses that gun. I think it's pretty cool. The belt with the holster is actually really cool too because the gun actually sits in that holster very securely. And then on top of that, you can move the belt up out of the way so that his legs can actually still move, farther apart. So you can always appreciate stuff like that. The whip looks really cool. Got the little forked front, and then in his hand, hopefully this is visible here. I'm gonna try and get some light on it, and maybe you guys can see it. You see his hand is not shaped the way a typical hand is shaped. I mean, look at this hand, and now look at this one. There's an extra little, maybe I can do it this way. Can you see that? Still kind of difficult to see. There's an extra divot right in there. I'm probably going to take pictures of it so you guys can see it. But that way, the handle for this this whip, it sits deeper. You see it now? It sits in that recess so that he actually doesn't drop it. So that when you pose him, it actually looks like he is, and I apologize for the dead air, I'm just trying to position things. He actually looks like he's getting ready to, you know, drop the whip down on someone, and it doesn't look bad. It actually looks really professional. He looks like he's really, you know, getting ready to wreck shop, and I like that. So, you know, once again, it's what I was saying. Bandai actually taking the time to make the figure look extra dope. I mean, look at all that. Somebody's about to get whipped. So, you know, they did a good job with him, and I'm very impressed with him. So as you can see, height-wise, he's taller than Lion-O and Cheetara, and he's not as tall as Panthro, which looks about right. I mean, if I remember correctly, since he's the older brother, he's supposed to be about a head, you know, about a half a head taller than his brother, which is cool, you know. And he is definitely taller than Cheetara because she always looks up at him, you know, in the series when they're like hugging or, you know, embracing or standing close to one another, which is cool. They got the scale pretty, you know, correct. So, you know, he's really cool. The only bad thing about Tygra is because of this big armored arm, he can't put his arm down. This one goes down further, but this one sticks out a little bit. His articulation can look up a little. For some reason, none of them have very good ball-jointed heads. Arms go up that much. Double-jointed elbow. Swivel at the wrist. Twist at the waist. A little bit of a diaphragm joint. You can see it at the top because he can sway side to side. His legs go out about that much. Swivel up here at the ball joint. Double jointed knee. Point or, you know, hinge at the foot. And there's an ankle rocker in there as well. So, really good articulation. And the cool thing about this is, unlike the smaller ones, if you remember, I did the review for them about a year or two ago. Yeah, it's about 2 years ago. The small ones don't have any of the articulation in their, you know, their legs or anything like that. And they didn't have the bicep swivel. And I forgot to mention that on him. He's got a bicep swivel actually on both sides. So yeah, he's got his bicep swivel. I was going to say he had it only on the, he didn't have it on the armored side, but he had it on the, you know, the other side, but, you know, he does. Next up, we'll do Cheetara. Cheetara was one of the ones I wanted the most because the smaller, you know, 3 3/4 inch figure did not have bicep swivels and didn't have wrist swivels either, so she couldn't really hold a staff. This one, she doesn't have bicep swivels, but she has ball jointed wrists. So there are swivels in there, so she can, as you can see, she can finally hold her staff. Come on, guys. She can hold her staff the right way. Sorry, this is what I hate about doing live reviews. I've never been good about, you know, keeping all the stuff as I'm in camera, keeping everything perfect and whatnot. But anyway, so she has really cool articulation. The main thing to be aware of with her, if you see her for cheap, her head is on a ball joint, but because of all this hair, you don't get much movement at all, if anything. There are no bicep swivels. She doesn't have double jointed elbows, even though it looks like they sculpted them where it could have been possible. Her range of motion is really nice as far as her legs go and whatnot. She can really do the splits, you know, so if you wanted to have her running, like seriously running or jumping or pole vaulting or something, she could actually do it and not look bad. The only thing that sucks about her running pose is that you can't change her head. You can't turn it or whatever. So you really have to pull off the Sonic the Hedgehog running where she's, you know, kind of looking forward and just her legs are doing what they do. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, she still looks really cool. I like the head sculpt. It's very simplistic, but it works. There's nothing really to complain about, or sorry, it's not focusing. There you go, it's a little better. Not too much to ask for on the head sculpt. It's very simplistic, which looks like Norton's artwork. Her paint work is really well done. Her little cat symbol didn't come off. Her arm goes up this far. I won't even deal with the head because, like I said, she doesn't have much. Arm goes up about that far, actually. Single bend at the elbow. No bicep swivel. Ball jointed wrists. And she did not come with extra wrists. She's got a diaphragm joint that doesn't really do anything except twist. And it's funny because the way that she's sculpted, they could have just cut at the waist. I don't know why they did that. They could have even done an ab crunch and it would have looked good. Anyway, by swivel at the thigh, upper thigh. Single jointed knee. Once again, I don't understand why she doesn't have double jointed knees, but whatever. She still can bend about, 90 degrees. She's got the point at the foot and a wonderful, 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 did I say wonderful? Pivot or ankle rocker. And I like it. It doesn't look bad. Here she is doing her little Chun-Li high kick from Super Street Fighter. Well, from everything from Super Street Fighter on. But it looks good, She's a very cool figure. She holds her staff really well. Her staff even has the, what do they call them? Paladins, I think they were called. I can't remember. But the little symbol, the little magic rune, I don't know if you can see that well, but I'll take a picture of it so that you can. It even has that little detail on there, and you can tell it's a piece of wood, and I like that. It's just, very simplistic detail. Nothing to complain about, So, Cheetara is made of wind, and I'm happy to have her. She can fight Tila or something, or fight alongside Tila one day. And, yeah. Sorry about the dead air. This is what happens when you do it live. I might chop that down a little bit more, but, let me move Lionel out the way and put Cheetara here. And then we will move on to my boy, Panthro. Now what's interesting about Panthro is that he's huge, but he still has the same range of motion that all the other guys have. I was expecting him to have less. I was expecting things to be missing in terms of articulation, and nothing is missing. Panthro is most people's favorite Thundercat for, the obvious reasons, the whole ninja thing. I mean, what was cooler in the 80s than a ninja, an alien cat ninja? I mean, Panthro was so badass, he had his own theme song. It really doesn't get much more badass than Panthro. So, in terms of accessories, the thing to remember, Lionel comes with the most accessories, plain and simple. Because he has extra hands. He comes with the 2 versions of the claw shield, one closed that can sit here and a little peg to hold it on there, and a small, closed up sort of omens. And then he comes with another hand that you put on when he's not wearing the glove. Panthro, on the other hand, comes with the chucks that he can beat you with, which are pretty awesome. Let me take these out of his hand so you can see them. I was really impressed about them because they're so substantial, and in the show he's not slow, but he's just so strong that these chucks just destroy people once he starts swinging them around. You know what I mean? It's not like before where dude was flossing and showing off all the time, but as you can see, they're nice and bendable, so you can do stuff with the one end, and they're actually pretty substantial. Like I said, they've got the nice claw hands on them. I like them. But he also comes with a pair that are set up with a peg so that you can put them on his back so he can wear them when he's not in battle. The peg sits exactly where this little, I don't know, stud is, and then it just pokes in that, it stabs into that little hole, or pegs into that little hole. And, yeah. So he can walk around with his weapons. And you know me, like I said, weapon storage is a big deal for me because it's always awesome to have a cool figure and then have a place to put all his gear. Now, articulation. Looks like Cheetara is trying to take a spill, and I ain't having that shit, not today. So we're gonna move you guys out the way. That's better. Articulation, ball jointed head, but it's just like no movement. His arms move up about this much. That little tuft of fur right there kind of prevents it from going any further. And also they didn't sculpt the disc all the way through because of the tuft of hair. He has double jointed elbows, which makes sense because he uses nunchucks. Twist at the wrist, bicep swivel. He's got this is a segmented torso, so he's got the upper diaphragm joint for the side to side, then he has a twist down there right at the base and at the diaphragm, which I don't get because you can't really do anything else with him, you know. It doesn't really serve a purpose. He's got the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, which looks really nice for a big dude. And it's awesome because when you make him kick, see, his legs can go out only that far at the side, right? But if you twist them and do it this way, then he can kick higher. Sorry. He can kick much higher. So there you go, you get your Bruce Lee on real quick. See? It doesn't look bad. And he's got a nice little ankle pivot or ankle rocker. Either one. I don't know why I keep on switching between the two. But anyway, thigh swivel up top, upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. He's got a swivel at the ankle or boot. And then, you know, ankle tilts or point and the rocker. So, you know, he's pretty articulate for or well articulated for a big ass figure. So finally, I have gotten through all my Thundercats. It's about damn time because, you know, I've had these guys for a great long while and I have been meaning to do this forever and I finally have done it. Now we can move on to the next one. I hope you guys dug it. Peace outside. I gotta come back. These are really cool figures, and if you can find them for a decent price, every single one of them is really cool. They're well painted, well sculpted, really good articulation. You know, like I said, the paint is really nice too. None of the paint is cheap, and they also have this they've alternated between colored plastics for specific parts and painted plastics, you know what I mean? So it's nice that, like, for the base colors of all these characters, they're actually sculpted in that color or cast in that color, and it works. It doesn't look bad, you know? And then where they painted over the stuff, it looks good. And then of course there's things that make them look like action figures, like the black pegs and discs and shit in their body, but they did it all across the board for everyone. So I think it was a choice, not a it wasn't an accident, is what I'm trying to say. It was done on purpose. It was a stylistic choice, and for me it's not a huge deal because, you know, they're toys. I mean, yes, it's not like He-Man and them where everything works, you know what I'm saying, and the pegs are the same color as the rest of the figure, but I'm sorry, that's King Grayskull, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like the He-Man collection where the figures are kind of more uniform, you know what I'm saying? It's more like it's a stylistic choice to let you know that they are toys, you know? So if you see these guys, get them. You will enjoy them. They are well worth it. I love them. I'm so happy to have them. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. So for real this time, on to the next one.